build in Minecraft. About this time last year, I made Mount Olympus with the help of my brother. This time I'm doing a solo project, which is the city of Troy, which you could probably guess by the title being the city of Troy. But here we are, and I figured I'd just start here in the center, quote-unquote, centermost part of the world. This is the Temple of Athena, specifically Pallas Athena, which they worshipped quite a bit. She was sacred to them, and so there was a bigger cult following to Pallas Athena in the city of Troy. And iron golems are here because protection, and I'm sort of using iron golems as a representation for more like soldiers and guards, because villagers can't fight. Then going out here, we have sort of a innermost area and a wall and an entrance to a wealthy person's house with like a garden and a pool like Romans did like to have in the day, and like basing sort of this house off Roman and Trojan culture. Big house, garden, there's multiple beds, a nice room made out of quartz. Very expensive material. At least that's what it's represented as in Minecraft. And a chest full of riches and purple. Purple was a rare color back in the day, and so it was only really used by the wealthy. And we have some villagers, like the owner of this house, probably, maybe people coming to the temple, or just priests. And here we have this inner wall. It's made out of stone. Excuse this. Never mind that. Anyway, so it's made out of stone. It is 5 blocks tall, plus the rim at the top, and 3 blocks wide. Since a block translates to a meter, it represents its real-life estimated size of being 3 meters, or 5 meters high, 3 meters wide. There's a gate to symbolize sort of the entrance. I can't get it to work because I'm not that good with redstone. But other than that, it is a gate. It's more fancy than the one that you'll see later for the outer wall, because yeah, it's it's slightly less of a protection, more of a second, like a border, because it's an inner wall. It's slightly more of a border, signifies the rich people and the temples that would be in the most protected part of town. Next up, we have the only other holy place in this entire map, or second. Then there's this, which I don't think is any historical record, but when I generated this map, this beautiful, I'm forgetting what it's called. It is cherry tree. Excuse my lack of knowledge. It's a cherry tree, and this is a naturally spawning cherry tree, which is very rare, especially since I've been built in the savannah for the villager style. And yeah, so it's a sort of shrine to Aphrodite, which was another very sacred goddess for the Trojans, having been the one that started the war and got Helen of Troy to be of Troy and not of Greece. And she also protected Aeneas. I never know how to spell. I never know how to say that. I know how to spell that, but yeah, him, the dude that like fled, and the Aeneid says founded Rome. So yeah, this is just a thing that I figured I'd build because it's a neat little detail, and yeah, it might as well because it's spawn and it's really rare, which could signify sort of like holy ground and not sort of being special and set apart. Next we have, I'll start with these houses. There's many of them littering, because littering the whole sort of thing. It has basically campfire, a chest with nothing in it, because they're poor people. It's like if they have like swords or, I don't know, bread. Then like a bed, sometimes 2 beds, depending on how big the house is. Like if we come over here, nope, it's still 1 bed. Some of them have 2 beds, I promise you. I was just checking this. There are things with 2 beds. They're over here. Like this one. This is a big, big poorhouse. It's has a crap ton of beds and a bunch of sort of community chests. Excuse the ginormous fire hazard. They're poor people. They need fire. Then next up, let's go to sort of the industry. The houses, mostly the same, sort of like slums in our sort of real life. They just like I'm going into like another one just to show you. They're just brick houses because that's the closest they can get to what they built out of. And it's just bed, a chest, and some fire, which is all they really had to do. Then next, let's go to this. First of our industry. This is the blacksmith's area, as you can see by the abundance of furnaces, which are currently unavailable. But in times of war especially, they'd be cranking out iron armor specifically. I'd say iron armor. It's the closest thing that we could really get to what they'd wear in Minecraft, because we're very limited in the armor category. Because leather, yes. Chain, I don't think that was created for a while, and it's also very expensive to make. Iron armor, most likely, because netherite doesn't exist. Diamonds are way too expensive, rare, and impractical, and hard to make into armor. And gold is the opposite. It's it's the opposite. It's useless. Diamond's amazing, because it's diamond. Gold is useless, because it's gold. And so yeah, iron is probably the closest to what they had. And so they'd probably just be cranking these out during the time of the Trojan War. Next up, if we go over here, we have a sort of bread industry with a bunch of wheat and a bunch of bread. This is the sort of bread stockpiles, because in the war, if you can see, there's a lot of burned trees if you look out, because you have to clear all this high area for trees. And back here, there's a lot of burned stumps and everything, because it's in a war. And the Greeks, because it's a war, would destroy a bunch of the surrounding area to try and limit the agriculture and the food. So this is sort of like their stockpiling, their food, their rationing. You just stuff wheat in here, furnace to cook it. I know that you can't do that in Minecraft, but you really need to bake. Please bake your bread before you eat it, especially if it has eggs, because it would not be good if you just ate it. I'm sure it's possible, but the bread wouldn't taste as good, look as good, or it'd be as healthy if you don't cook it. Especially if the egg. Do not eat raw egg. I think this is common knowledge, but you never know with the internet. Then I'm gonna save that for last. You'll see what that is. The villagers. I'll just talk about this now. Villagers are a specific design. This is unique to the Savannah biome in Minecraft. And it's just, they sort of look Romanesque. They have laurel wreaths. I chose this specifically. I could have gone with any other biome, but I wanted the Roman look because of, Troy. And yeah, I just think they're the coolest design for villagers. They can't trade because they can't. They just can't. Because they don't have jobs for everyone, and this town is not populated with jobs or whatever. According to its population, it's just like houses, because they don't want to build on top of an existing village, because it's not what they built out of, and they didn't build out of wood and stuff, especially in a war. So there's that. A few of them do have. Oh, it's because over here we have the looms and the wool. As you can see, Troy, to our knowledge, has a booming wool industry, which is not what I had expected Troy to be known for, given that the Trojan War is much more popular. But they were. And so that's what they have. They have red wool, blue wool, and because those are dyes, more common dyes, and tiny bit of purple, because like I said, it's very rare and expensive. Hold on a moment. I know I set it to not peaceful for an object that you'll see later, but wait. It's peaceful. How did I do that? I don't know. Okay, anyway. I can worry about that when I got there. Anyway, so Troy had an incredibly powerful wool market. And even though it got destroyed many times, because we know there's like 9+ Troys that we found at the one site. Not we. I'm not part of the group. Just like people in general have found. And here is the final little thing inside of the city, which is a barracks for the armor and everything for the soldiers. Full double chests of armor, all these stacked beds. I promise you, this is logic. I couldn't fit the beds like with stylized stuff to make them look like actual bunk beds because space and yeah, they just look cleaner with this. If I could get a fence there, it'd be amazing, but whatever. Here in these chests, we just have swords. You need a lot of swords. They take the most damage in a fight, and everyone needs them. We have shields, arrows. These shields are more closely to not really Roman. I don't know. As far as I can tell, Greeks used more rounded shields. Romans used curved, rectangular ones. And these shields are not that. I don't know exactly who used them. Steak and both. Steak for rations and not dying in combat. Because Minecraft logic, you just eat a food and you're fine. Then we have this wall. This giant hunka wall. Yeah, we'll just say it's a wall. It's 8 meters tall and 5 meters wide at any given point. Technically 9. This is the 9th block at most parts. It's at least 8 blocks apart. They're not all equal because there's a lot of hills because Minecraft generation is so finicky, and it took me 3 hours to find an even close to suitable map. Then I tried to terraform it, and then it turns out it would not work well. So yeah, it's crazy. Don't try and build something on a hill in creative with your one purpose for that world being to build something on a hill, because it's so hard to find a suitable hill, especially for a build as big as this. It's bigger than some people's render distances. Now, I'm lucky enough to have a computer that can run a pretty good render distance, so I can actually see the entire thing. But, yeah, especially older versions of Minecraft cannot even render this entire thing at once. So, yeah, 8 blocks tall, 5 meters wide, 5 blocks wide, same thing. With these little access chutes that you've probably seen before. They're just ladders that just lead up to the wall. They're how soldiers would get up and down. Practically, if I could not fly, that's how you'd get up and down. Then over here we have a bigger corner. This is to protect the sort of shrines, and it's the closest area to this. This is also a sort of storeroom. If you open up into here, you'll see that there's big room, ladder up to the watchtower, or just up to the thing in general, and you'll see this big glaring walk through me, which we'll get to later. It's a painting. If you don't know Minecraft lore, painting almost always hides a secret. It's a painting. It's Minecraft. It's basically a lot. You don't put paintings down just about at all in Minecraft without having something hidden behind it. And we go over to the tower, or the gate. It's a large gate. I had to make it large enough to fit that thing in it. And it's just walls. It's a bit more open. I did not make it full blocks because it feels clunky, and it's better to see through and shoot at if there are holes. Then, like I said, again, there's the ladders. Climb you up. There's a smaller outposts that you can walk around, look down on the city, fire bows from. And that's just about it for the actual city. There's, of course, all the Iron Golem guards watching over the city. And a few that jumped down from the wall. I promise you, I tried to make all of them on the wall. There's just Minecraft AI. Minecraft AI has a very big problem with doing what I want them to. Which is why I didn't use many, if any, mobs last time. Now, the Greek camp. It's mostly deserted, most of the tents have been packed up, but we just have one table. These are meant to sort of show stuff they don't know, and this is to hide the little surprise up there that we'll get to in a bit. See the map, planned attack routes, which I can't do because Minecraft won't let me draw on the maps. Mojang, I don't think you're going to watch this, but please, that would be so fun and really help builds like this. This is sort of their war room that they didn't take down because it's a big thing that they don't even need to hide. They would have sailed off from this coast out into the open ocean, which is that way, and possibly that way. I haven't explored this entire map. Then, we have the Trojan horse, which is, of course, everyone's heard it. Odysseus is like, we gotta stop fighting this war. It's gone on too long, and Achilles is mad, and possibly dead, depending on where you are in the story. Sorry for the spoilers, it's been around for like multiple thousands of years. If you don't know the story of the Odyssey and I ruined it for you, I'm sorry. But it's long past public domain. Anyway, in here, it's a hollow sort of area to put in here. I tried to put Vindicators and Evokers in here to sort of symbolize invaders, but I have it on peaceful because I didn't want zombie noise cluttering the entire build, and also they weren't realistic. Well, neither are Evokers. But here we are. It's a hollow sort of design where the Greeks would hide in, and Odysseus imagined this plan. And so quite a few of the Greeks would hide in here, but the remaining army sailed off with all the ships to make it look like they'd left and gave up. Sailed out to the ocean blue, whichever direction you choose, leaving all but one tent fire, neither of which I could find in the actual source material, but they left, and this horse, which they said was a monument to Athena. Dear Trojans, we have decided to leave Troy and give up. As a show of our condolences, we offer this horse, a symbol of the great Athena, which they'd like very much because they, have a whole thing for Pallas Athena. And in a way, this is the final holy structure, because in a way it was a monument to Athena itself, because it was a sort of shrine to cunning and tactics and warfare, and also look at the Odyssey. Athena really likes Odysseus. Actually, most of the gods do, but Odysseus was definitely sort of like Athena, as far as we like words. As far as we go with traits, methods, what they're known for, strategy, tactics. And it looks derpy because it's in Minecraft, and I have to work with meter-by-meter blocks and buttons for eyes. But other than that, it is a horse with a little tag that tells them, please let us into your camp so you can burn it all down. So what happened with this Trojan horse is the Trojans rejoiced and thought that the Greeks were just gone, and were like, yeah, we should celebrate with the Greeks monument. Brought them in here, and then paraded it around the city, celebrating their victory over the Greeks. Brought it somewhere in the town. I guess practically, even though I don't not know exactly, somewhere up in the rich person area, which proved perfect for Odysseus' plan. His warriors snuck out in the middle of the night, which it's turning right now, and they came and didn't ransack this, I guess, but ransacked just about everything else. not the temples, because it's that they follow generally the same religion with slightly separate cults. That's how Greece worked. How Greek cults work is sort of there's a bunch of the main gods, but only a few of them are relevant to everyday people, or relevant to people every day. So, like, certain people would worship certain gods, and cults would travel with trade, and as ideologies spread, cults would grow, and people would worship the god in different ways depending on their location, what they need, what they thought the god meant to them. And yeah, so since they knew of Athena, they would not ransack it, most likely. So they came out here, busted through these doors from the inside, lighted fire to literally everything in the city, because they just got in after a siege. Of course they would. Then they came back here and opened the gates for the other Greeks that then came back and entered. Now, the final part of the fall of Troy, as we know it, is this little thing, which isn't entirely accurate. At least I can find no proof of a man running through a painting. Like I said, we'll get to that. But Aeneas, warned in a dream, I'm just going to call him that because I can't figure it out, warned through a dream, went and tried to escape through the secret door that I did put here. I'm not going to fix that. I can't do that right now. And he ran through the cover of darkness, and possibly from little divine intervention, left, and we ended the Odyssey with the destruction of Troy, or with the destruction of Troy, and that's where this tale of the Odyssey ends. Now, once they get here to the place that I just patched up because I forgot my own design, went down this stair, at least in Minecraft they would, climbed back up to the tiny little hidden hole in the ground that the Greeks would never notice. And then went to these ships, which, excuse me for being bad at building ships, this is the first time. But they had two sails. They had a sort of raised, elevated chair position in the back. And then the below decks, this is where all the rowers would sit, and this is where the anchors are. And there's dolphins, because Minecraft does not know that dolphins only live in a certain spot. So these are the anchors. Excuse the Minecraft physics. It's Minecraft. So yeah, you get two ships. They all boarded them, sailed off from this secluded little coastline that the Greeks, yet again, would probably not notice, because it's a tiny little coast that then they came from over there, sailed over here. They'd sail around, or that way, probably this way, and just in the Minecraft world, because that way would be Greece, and Greece is not good. And they sailed away to have a bunch of adventures, exactly like Odysseus does, but with Aeneas, and he does them worse. Greek mythology nerds fight me. I think he does them in a worse way every time. But yeah, so the ships would sail off, and Trojans would live, create Rome. Rome would exist and not like the Greeks for destroying Troy. And then the Roman Empire happened. Da-na! And so yeah, Roman Empire. If you haven't heard of the Roman Empire, I can't help you. But this is the backstory to the backstory of the Roman Empire. Because after Aeneas got there, he had to settle down, and all of his descendants are rumored to be Romulus and Remus, which are said to. I can't vouch for the historical legitimacy of Romulus and Remus. Definitely not the mythological tale, but at least the people's existence. I can't vouch for that. Which then were the first king, or Romulus was. Remus was killed, according to the myth, and maybe the history. and Romulus was the first king of Rome, named after him, because he's a king. And that's what all kings do. Leaders, given a chance, will name something out of them 9 times out of 10. After them. After them. I can't speak today. But yeah, here you go. The wonderful city of Troy, with a lot more population density than I had time to do and make, because it would take a lot of time to fill everything in. Yes, it's a city. It's a city. It's going to be like 20 times larger, 20 times, more than 20 times more of the houses. But this is a representation of the city. A bunch of houses, some sort of slum living. This dude has a job. Oh, he's one of the blacksmiths. It always surprises me that, like, never intend for people to get jobs, and then they get jobs, and I'm surprised. But here you go. They have the city of Troy about to get destroyed because the Trojans are way too insuspicious, trusting. I guess no one had kinda brought in a giant wooden hollow horse into a city and then ransacked it before. But come on, just predict the future, Trojans. It's not that hard. You just need to imagine something that only one person had ever thought of before today, and then prevent it by burning down the horse, which was also a symbol of Athena, which is what they passed it off as. Maybe commit heresy along the way. See, if that happened, Troy would never have been destroyed, Rome would never have been created, and, yeah, we wouldn't have this wonderful tale in a wonderful book called The Odyssey, and also the Iliad, the prequel, and the sequel, the Aeneid. The worst one, because it's just a ripoff, and it's Roman.
Thank you.